Hey there, Bruce, and welcome to the Game of Fortune. I said at the end of Misery Chord that we'd be kicking off with the Game of Fortune walkthrough or let's play or whatever you want to call it in the next episode, and here we are. I have to say a big thank you to the developer for sending us over a key so that we can check it out. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this for some time. I have too. And I have heard that it is a very, very long game, so settle in. This is probably going to take a couple of months to get through completely at one episode a day, you know? But when has that ever stopped me before, huh? Let's jump in. I'm going in completely blind here. I haven't even played the demo of this one. I did have the demo, but I just didn't get around to playing it, so all blind. So, how are the preparations looking? Perfect. All the participants are on their way. Everything should be set in stone and ready to go. And you're certain that all the participants are trustworthy? You need to relax. How many background checks have we done now? At this point, we could probably guess what everyone had for breakfast this morning. We've been betrayed before, so I don't want to take any chances. Well, that's on you for picking people with shaky resolve. Shaky resolve? After you threatened them. Allegedly threatened them. I told you I didn't have a hand in it. That's enough. I don't want to deal with any more bickering or squabbling. We've done everything we can. It's all out of our hands now. I want no spectacles, no outbursts, and absolutely no repeats of what happened last time. Is that understood? Yeah. You blew up one time and no one let you forget about it. Well, we had a lot of work to cover up what you did. What did I just say about bickering? Sorry. Anyway, I'm just going to close my eyes and rest easy. After all, we've got a long day ahead of us. How's she able to just sleep like that? Hey, Devon, wake up. Are we there yet? I think we're close. The driver hasn't spoken a single word since we left. But they said that we're on a strict schedule, right? More importantly, how are you sleeping at a time like this? What, it's early in the morning. We left at midnight, and I figured that'd be the perfect time to get some sleep. I don't need to ruin my sleep schedule by staying up till 4 AM when I could be catching some Z's right now. Don't tell me you've been awake this whole time. You're going to be a zombie by the time we get to wherever it is we're trying to get to. I wouldn't have to stay up all morning if you'd been awake too. Hey, this is your idea, wasn't it? I don't know why you're freaking out. I just feel like something's not right. Well, it's probably too late to do anything about it. But if you want to talk it out, maybe that'll make you feel better. I wish I could be as calm and collected as you, Devon. It's an acquired skill that I've honed with practice. My head is starting to ache, so let's try and run through the basics. Sounds good to me. Oh, well, you know me. I have to save it every fucking choice. You know this. Where are we going? So where are we going again? Good question, but I haven't got a clue, really. You don't have any idea where we're going? Why are you asking me that like I know any better? Let's see. Well, I remember that the shady guy said he was going to take us somewhere. He didn't say where it was. For all we know, it could be a football stadium, or a casino, or a graveyard. It could even be a boat. You know how much we wanted one of those? It'd be a fun surprise for sure. That's not as reassuring as you're making it out to be. Well, I'm just trying to make the most out of an uncertain situation. Besides, it's not like we're kidnapped or anything. We chose to go, and we're given plenty of opportunities to back out. I know, Why is this place so far away? No idea, but they did tell us that it was going to be a long drive until we got there. All I know is that the location is called Clovergate. I tried looking up a place near here with the same name, but I didn't see anything. Must be one of those insider terms. Maybe it'll just be a big meadow full of clovers. Doubtful. But I'd honestly rather take that than some of the other options you listed. We'll find out when we get there. Until then, no point fretting about what might end up being. Yeah, I guess you're right. How did we end up here? Oh man, you must really be having some bad sleep deprivation if you can't remember all that. Still, I can give you a little spark to get you to remember. Your mum got really sick and all the doctors said they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And you started getting worried. You got desperate and started looking for any treatment centre that would help her out. And then you said you came across some group called the Digits of Eden or something like that. Yeah, it's all clicking in my head now. And they said they have a cure for any ailment. You know advertisements like that are usually scams, right? Like 99.9% of the time. I know that, but I checked a bunch of reviews, all the comments are positive, and all the information seemed legitimate. Still sounds like a scam to me. Maybe they got some reviewers to bloat up their ratings. It happens all the time online. I mean, it is suspicious that despite having such good reviews, you had to scour the dark web to find even a single mention of them. It was sketchy. But I had to give them a chance. I was at the end of my rope. That's what you told me. And then you entered into some kind of raffle to win a trip to one of their treatment centres, and as fate would have it, you won. And now we're driving to their treatment center, though they never really gave a location or description as to what it looks like. Right. Fast forward today and now we're on our way over there. If it really is a scam, it's a really dedicated one. You know, isn't it weird how they're taking you to the treatment center and not your mum? They said it was imperative that I was the one who showed up if I wanted to help my mother. Sounds suspicious to me. All this, maybe they're gonna hold us hostage for ransom. Don't say that. Chill out, it's probably not like that. Like, 99.9% sure that's not that. I mean, if it were, they sure as heck chose the wrong people to try and get a ransom out of. We both know we're not exactly loaded or related to any rich folks. Unless you've been holding out on me for years. Is that it, Clyde? You've been skimping out on sharing your royalty money with me? Devon, do you know how ridiculous you sound? Of course I don't have any gold bars hidden away anywhere. And it's probably not ransom. And you should rest while you can. If only, Devon. If only. So, how you feeling, Devon? Sleepy, but slightly refreshed. If I get a few more hours, I think I'll be ready to go. That's not what I mean, Devon. I mean, like, are you okay with all of this? With coming along with me? Well, I'd prefer not to spend my Sunday getting into a mysterious truck and driving 4 hours somewhere, but it's definitely not the worst thing around, and you said this thing needs a partner, right? That's what I was told. Well, it was a no-brainer then. I'm not going to leave you hanging if your mum's treatment's on the line. Besides, it might be fun. I just didn't want to feel like you were pressured into this or anything like that. Oh, please, Clyde. You're like one of the least influential people I know. Is that supposed to be a compliment? Not really, but it sounded better in my head. Gee, thanks. Besides, a dishwasher and a line cook for a pizzeria are the perfect dynamic duo for some kind of road trip, aren't they? Imagine what kind of shenanigans we'll get into. Ideally, none. You've got no sense of adventure. Don't you get tired of washing dishes all day? This might be a really fun break. The kind of stuff you can write a book about. Or a spot on the obituary page of the local newspaper. At least someone will read it. Boundless optimism. Still, I guess it's better than that one of us is going into this with a good attitude at least. Just as we finished speaking, the truck came to a sudden stop and the driver craned his neck to look over at us. We're here. Oh man, I didn't get to finish my nap. You'll get the chance to sleep on the ride back. I guess, but I'm still feeling drowsy. Walking around will wake us up a little, right? I'd say so, but it's not like we got any other choice. The doors to the truck opened and Devon and I hopped out. Looking around, it appeared that we were standing in a large field of clovers. In truth, it's a rather pleasant place illuminated by soft torchlight. But what's concerning is the large crowd in the distance. I couldn't see them clearly through the darkness, but there were a whole lot of them, more than I can count. You know, for a place called Clovergate, there's a lot of clovers, but not a lot of gates. Aren't you more concerned that this place doesn't look anything like a treatment center? Not even like a facility to get drugs or something? Maybe the clovers are magical and their powers only work during a full moon. You don't actually believe in that garbage, do you? Well, you never know until you try. And by all means, stuff your face full of grass. I'll be waiting to see the effects. Don't tempt me, you know I'll do it. But hey, there's a ton of people over there in the back. Can you see them? Barely. They're practically silhouettes. I can't really make out anything about them. Spooky. But we haven't been gagged or cuffed yet, so we're probably still safe. Stop trying to scare me when I'm already on edge. And take a nap. The Cloverfield here looks really comfy. I am not taking a nap in the middle of nowhere when we're surrounded by who knows what. Your loss. Those clovers look super soft. Devon turned over to our driver, who leaned against his car. Hey, bud, you sure you got the right place and didn't just drive us over to some campsite? This doesn't seem like a... Where'd you say we were going? A treatment center. Yeah, what he said. Just wait. Shouldn't be long. Well, that's not ominous whatsoever. I tried. Clyde, looks like we're just gonna have to wait. You gave up pretty quickly. Well, what's a girl supposed to do? Interrogate him? He said to wait, so we might as well wait. I suppose so. I kind of wish we had coverage here, though. Yeah, we really are in the middle of nowhere, aren't we? Yeah, but I guess we ought to just wait. Though we didn't have to wait long. We ended up meeting with a bunch of other people who didn't seem to be part of the larger crowd. There were a few pleasant chats and some not so pleasant ones, but as time passed we were called together for some kind of meeting. Oh no. This looks worrisome. I watched eagerly as the four of them began to walk toward the center of the field, as an entourage followed close behind, bearing a variety of equipment. Each of them wore an eerie mask like something out of a Greek comedy. Though with a brief glance I could see that the masks were numbered 1 through 4, and each had a designated colour, gold, blue, white and green respectively. A small crew began setting up torches, while others started erecting a small stage with microphones and speakers. I would have been impressed at how quickly they set everything up if it didn't look like they were preparing some kind of odd ritual. Hey, if they start asking for human sacrifices, I think we could run into the woods to escape. Tempting. Really tempting, Devon. If not for the fact that there's at least a few dozen people surrounding the place. We could probably take them, or at least like 2 of them. I don't think that we make it very far. Shh, I'm trying to listen in on what they're saying. I wanted to snap back at the guy, but my curiosity got the better of me. As all the new arrivals were herded to the area near the stage, I found myself eager to hear what these masked individuals had to say. Soon enough, the person in the gold mask brought up a microphone to his face. Good morning. It's wonderful to see you all here on this fine day, the 40th anniversary of the Digits of Eden's founding. Some of you may know me as one of the founders of the Digits of Eden. Others may simply know me as the first, and some of you may not know me at all. Right here, right now, what matters is not me, but you. Before me stand 16 participants, 16 individuals, 16 chosen ones, who shall forge their own destiny in a game set to shape the lives and deaths of others. Lives and deaths? There's a pause as the gold-masked man seemed to look over us for a moment. Some of you I recognise and others are newcomers. A few of you are here today because you performed your duties for the Digits of Eden and are now allowed to participate in one of the most sacred blessings. Others may have been referred to this place by some of our members in good standing, a gift which we hope you'll one day repay us when the time comes. And others still may be here simply because of fate, a design of beings we cannot comprehend. Nevertheless, we accept your presence here for the most holy and mystical of events. Regardless of your origins, you have found yourself here for one reason or another, and we hope that you shall enjoy the Game of Fortune with all your body and soul. Game? The Game of Fortune? The heck is that? No one ever mentioned some Game of Fortune. I shall now pass on instructional duty to the second. Please pay proper attention, for all of you will be instructed on our logistical procedures, regardless of whether you are familiar or unfamiliar with the Game of Fortune. The gold-masked man stepped back and the blue-masked woman moved forward. At 4:44 AM exactly, this clover field will shine bright, and a blue door will appear. It's only big enough for 2 people to enter at a time. Each of you has been assigned a partner or has been instructed to bring a partner with you. You must hold hands as you walk through the light, or you shall not be able to pass through the Divine Realm. The Divine Realm has strict rules, one being that exactly 16 participants must enter through the Clovergate within 4 minutes. As such, we shall carefully but swiftly usher each of you into the gate once it is opened. There will be no need to push, shove, run, or fight, as there is no benefit nor penalty associated with the order in which you enter. You shall also be patted down for weapons and other illegal items before entering the Clovergate. The Divine Being does not like such things being brought into her realm, and issues punishment for those who attempt to sneak them in. Additionally, while you may bring electronic devices with you, their functionality will be extremely limited. However, the Divine Ruler has never disallowed them, and thus, if you wish, you may bring them along. Finally, as a general piece of information, all clothes, accessories, and items on your person will carry over with you into the Divine Realm. As long as they are not weapons, the Divine Ruler shall permit you to bring them along, and you need to have no fear of losing them. All of our explanations are complete. After all our explanations are complete, you shall be given a brief moment to ask questions, as well as retrieve any items you may have left in the trucks that transported you here. Afterwards, we shall separate you into your pairs and prepare for the Clovergate to appear. With that said, the third shall now go over our approved guidelines. The woman with the blue mask stepped back while the white masked man stepped forward. As per our tradition, at the Digits of Eden, you shall have complete freedom to play the game however you see fit, as long as it pleases the Divine Ruler of the realm. However, we do have some customary rules, which we shall now go over for both new and returning participants. The first is that none shall bring any permanent harm to any member of the Digits of Eden without prior consent of all 4 leading members. You know who you are if you have such permission. Ignorance will not be tolerated as a proper defense. If you're found to have permanently injured, killed, or removed mystical divinity from any Digits of Eden members, you will be punished accordingly. For those of you who do not know the Digits of Eden, this simply means that you're not to make any wishes that we would likely not approve of. Use common sense if you have to. Moving on, some of you have been given tasks. You're to obey those tasks to the dot. If you return with your tasks unfulfilled without sufficient reason, you shall be punished in accordance with our laws immediately. So don't try to weasel your way out of your jobs. Do whatever you can to ensure that our will is done. Aside from that, you're free to wish whatever it is that the Divine Ruler allows. The fourth will now finish us off with the hymn of the fourth divine. The white masked man stepped back and the green masked man approached his microphone. For those unfamiliar with the hymn, simply hum along. He cleared his throat before bringing his arms up. They couldn't be bothered to actually listen in. This was a ridiculous ceremony after all. The crowd, on the other hand, while modest in size, they seemed to grow louder and louder with each verse, forming a zealous chorus that made me want to shrink down to the size of an ant and skitter away. Hey dude, I'm seriously getting some bad cult vibes here. Oh, what gave you that idea? Was it the torches or the weird song people are raving about? Hush, she's almost done. That concludes our ceremony for the Game of Fortune. We have roughly 10 minutes left before you shall make the final preparations. Are there any questions that you would like to have answered? Are there any questions? I have so many I can't choose what to ask first. Who is the fourth divine? What are the digits of Eden about? What is the Game of Fortune? I was ready to raise my hand and get some of my questions answered. Just one, so I can wrap my head around any of this. But before I even had the chance, a man's hand immediately shot up. Yeah, was any of this necessary? There's a moment of silence before the green-masked man composed himself. Of course. Do you think otherwise? Well, if the gate is going to open at exactly 4:44 AM, why do we need any of this other chanting bullcrap stuff? Tradition, mostly. We never ask that you participate, but that you respectfully listen. You're free to go on your merry way after all is done. It just seems a little odd to me. Who made you able to choose who could participate in this game? Shouldn't it just be first come, first served? Why all the showmanship and the ceremonies when all we had to do was walk through a gate? Another palpable silence. I couldn't tell if he's trying to incite something or if he's genuinely curious as to why we had to do all of this. Eventually the white masked man spoke up, taking control of the situation before things got even more awkward. Simple, we do it for the sake of order. Don't be mistaken, the fourth divine did not lay out rules on who or who couldn't participate. Well, not completely anyway. But can you imagine a free-for-all of people trying to drag themselves through the gate? Such madness would no doubt rub her the wrong way. And thus we decided that it would be best to simply take control and choose who would participate based on our internal factors and decision making. Is that a satisfying answer for you? Well, not really, but it answers the question, I guess. I got a question. How are you going to be able to tell who's acting against the interests of the digits of Eden? Have you got some kind of spy on the inside or something? Some way of chatting with people in the realm of the divine or whatever? We have ways of cross-checking people's actions through the realm of the divine, though you shouldn't have to worry about that if you're not going to do anything against us. I just don't want to get blamed if someone else does something stupid, but if you got a way to ensure that we'll be fine, then do whatever you need to. You have no reason to fear. Any other questions? We aren't going to be in any real danger, are we? Another brief moment of silence. The four masked leaders looked to one another before the one in the gold mask stepped back up to the microphone. No, absolutely not. No one that has ever participated in the Game of Fortune has been killed or injured. The game may be mentally taxing and may exhaust one's spirit, but the body always returns whole, if that is able to alleviate your understandable fears. If there's one thing I can tell you is that we won't let any harm come to you, as long as you don't bring any harm to any of us. His answer was so sincere, so honest, that despite everything else going on, despite how unsettling this all was, I didn't get the feeling that he was lying. It was enough to melt away any of my other fears for a moment, like I had shed my skin and would now be ready to brave whatever it was that would be thrown at me. Maybe that's foolish, or maybe it's just my body trying to force myself not to go into panic mode. Whatever it was welcome. If that's all, you have about 5 minutes to gather any items you wish to take with you. You will then be patted down before being escorted to the right location for the Clovergate. That is all. May you have fortune with fortune. You doing alright, Clyde? Well, this is probably as good as I'm going to get here. If they're being honest about how we're not actually going to be in any serious kind of danger, then I suppose I've got no choice but to believe them. So there's some relief in that, I guess. Well, there's always the running option if you want to take your chances with that. They've got trucks and probably a crowd of guards on standby. True, but I'd rather take those odds than something else if we get thrown into some kind of ritualistic altar. They said there'd be some kind of door though, right? Yeah, let's hope that's a physical door and not some metaphorical thing that requires us to give up our souls or some spiritual bullshit like that. It would be bad if we lost our souls. If we survive this whole thing, then you owe me big time. That's fair. This has been a whole lot. On the bright side, it'll be a nice story to tell other people. The time I was deep in some weird cult. That'll turn some heads for sure. And there was that boundless optimism again. Even when things were tense, she couldn't help but look for a silver lining. But I guess that was for the best, wasn't it? One of us needed to stay positive, and the other had to remain skeptical. So you got everything you wanted? Didn't bring much. Just got my phone and wallet. What about your bag? Got anything in there? Some snacks, but that's about it. You? Nothing. Didn't think I'd need to bring anything other than my phone with me. Guess that means I don't need to worry about bringing anything illegal with me, right? Probably not. I'm more curious about some of the other people. Some of them definitely went back to their trucks to either pick stuff up or drop stuff off. Guess the Fourth Divine doesn't appreciate it when people are packing heat, huh? For all our sakes, let's hope none of them are. As our conversation continued, we and the other participants were organised out into pairs. They gave us a pat-down and checked our belongings to make sure none of us were carrying weapons. After that, Devon and I were escorted out toward the centre of the field, with the other pairs, lined up 2 by 2. Everyone was holding hands as instructed, which made things more than a little awkward, but not for the reasons that you'd expect. Clyde, your hand is all sweaty. And yours isn't? Out of the 2 of us, who do you think is more nervous? Don't use that kind of logic against me. I'm just saying, maybe you should invest in some antiperspirant cream for your hands. I don't want to have to wipe my hands all over my clothes just to get them dry. You think I want this? Do you want to be this nervous right now? No, but I'm the one stuck to your hand. Sheesh, how much longer do we have to wait? Didn't they say this gate thing was going to open at 4:44 AM or something? Pretty sure that's right. Why can't it be 4:44 PM? They've got such an obsession with that number, it's beyond logic. I'm not the one who leads the weird digits of Eden thing. Why don't you ask them? Because I didn't feel like raising my hand during the questions portion of their little seminar, and it seemed like a stupid question. Well, you're lost. I doubt they'll be answering anything now. They could have the least they could have done is given us a pamphlet. Soon the crowd became restless, counting down the final seconds until the designated time. Looks like it's almost time. Oh boy, I'm so excited. We anxiously watched and waited as the count lowered. The air started to feel warmer and a soft wind swept across the clover field. Faint blue sparks of light appeared, floating in the air like fireflies. Slowly they began collecting in the centre of the field, forming a faint white and blue globe of light that shifted in shape and form. At the same time, the countdown became more and more fervent, and cheers and chants continued to mix in as the countdown grew closer and closer to 0. The blob of light moulded itself into a door frame, with a pale blue light shining out from the front. And the light's intensity grew and grew, similar to the volume of the crowd as they reached the climax of their chant, until finally the countdown reached 0. Before I could comprehend what was truly going on, I watched as the first pair walked through the door hand in hand. The light swallowed them, leaving nothing behind, and then the next pair went, then the next, then the next. Holy shit, is this real? I couldn't answer Devon, as we were up next to enter the gate. There's only one way to find out. Shit, man, if I actually die from this, I'm gonna kick your ass. I ignored her nonsensical statement as I hesitantly walked forward, held my breath and closed my eyes, tightly clenching Devon's hand in my own. Part of me expected that walking through this thing would be like walking through lava, that it would burn, that it would swallow me and force me to sink into a deep, agonizing pain. Instead, it was just a bright, overwhelming light accompanied by the feeling of my breath being taken out of my chest. But it wasn't suffocating. It was like I didn't feel the need to breathe at all. I just felt like something was being gently pulled from me. And then, all white, faded into darkness. My eyesight flickered for a few moments as I stared awake, my consciousness clawing itself back to the forefront of my mind. My first instinct was to sit up and rub the back of my head and get my bearings. After a few blinks, things started becoming clear. I could see that I was sitting in some kind of lounge. My memory slowly seeped back to me as I recalled everything that occurred only a few minutes ago. And looking around, I could see all the other participants either relaxing or just waking up like me. Hey, Clyde, you're finally awake. It didn't take long for Devon to catch my attention as she walked toward me and sat down. How you feeling, bud? We just walked through a door of literal light. I guess I feel fine, just confused. Light doors will do that to you, I'm told. You're still able to keep that wisecracking mouth of yours despite everything, huh? Well, we're alive, I think. So I figure there's no reason to not keep cracking jokes. Yeah, we might be alive, but where the hell are we? That's what I'm trying to figure out. The red-hatted woman interjected as she walked toward us with a sheepish woman in tow. You don't understand any of this nonsense either, do you? I can't say that I do. Right, doors of light don't just render you unconscious or transport you to weird places. Doors of light also don't appear out of nowhere. Don't get smart with me. It's unusual and I don't like it. I know it's weird, but it doesn't seem to be all that bad. The sheepish woman finally spoke up as she nervously glanced between the red-haired woman and me. Some of the others here don't seem all that worried, so it's probably fine. I know you mean well, but the fact that they aren't panicking doesn't mean that we're in an ideal situation. We could have been drugged and carted off to some remote facility for who knows what. Drug? Us? All 16 of us without anyone noticing or putting up a fight? They had plenty of opportunities. They could have done it in the trucks, on the drive here. I don't know, it sounds like you're just trying to explain the unexplainable. Maybe some divine being really did teleport us here. Spare me the spiritual hippie bullcrap. I entertained it because I thought we got something out of it, not get sent to wherever the hell this is. I mean, look around. Do you see any exits around here? This place is so weird. And most of the others are acting like it's perfectly normal. If anything, I find it more suspicious that more people aren't freaking out, or at least questioning what's going on right now. She's got a point. Some of the people here seem too lax about all this. They said some of them have done it before. That's probably because they know what's going on, right? I mean, some of the people here clearly know what this place is. Can you shut up, lady? The crass young man shouted from across the room. You're so damn loud that we're going to miss the announcement. What'd you just say, you little punk? I said you're loud and you need to shut your trap. I can't even hear myself think. We're here in the Clover Lounge and all you keep doing is yakking about how it doesn't make sense. The woman's eyes narrowed as she strode up to the young man. He's just a kid. I'm 20 years old, I'm not a kid. He's old enough that he should know when to speak and when to keep his mouth shut. Don't waste your breath. You'll get the answers you want soon anyway. And you don't want to make an enemy out of me right now, if you can help it. Punk-ass kid, you better be telling the truth. He is. While his tone could certainly use some work, he's certainly not saying anything false. For the moment, it seemed like the woman was placated enough to keep herself from socking the kid in the mouth. I'd been hoping that we'd get a moment to rest and cool off, but as soon as she stepped back, a voice called out to us. It seemed like fate had other plans. What a spectacle! I didn't think we'd get a spat like that until we got started. We have such a lively group here today, don't we? The voice was unfamiliar, and looking around, it seemed like most of us were trying to figure out who was speaking, or at least where they were. Up here. Draw your eyes up this way. Our eyes turned upward, and we were greeted by the sight of a woman perched on a throne mounted to one of the walls. Do I finally have your attention? Excellent. Oh, it's so wonderful to be able to see your beautiful faces. There are even a few here that I recognize. Did you really miss me so much you wanted to come see me again? I'm flattered, truly. Oh, but don't worry, I don't play favourites, and I'm sure I'll learn to love all the newcomers as much as the veterans. The lady exuded an air of knowledge, elegance, and control, as if she saw everything, understood everything, and, in a way, governed everything. Who are you? You weren't with us in the Cloverfield, and I don't remember you standing in line to go through the gate. You think she snuck in? Maybe. We were in the middle of the line when we went in. No one snuck in. Yeah, we were the last ones to jump in and no one tried to cut in front of us or anything. Oh, you're so cute. I can tell you've really got no idea what's going on. Hey, don't worry, I'm going to explain everything in detail shortly. But suffice to say that I don't need to sneak into my own home, my own realm. Your own realm? Then are you the fourth divine? Is that what people are calling me now? Yeah, it's fitting in a way, but also so tacky. Like putting diamonds in gold and then lining them with silver only to dip them in chocolate. Sounds kind of awesome if you ask me. Ugh, that's way too tacky. You can call me that out there, but don't use that title here, alright? Well, what would you have us call you then? That's the thing, isn't it? I was going to go with Jin or Zero, since they both have 4 letters. But then I realized they were already taken. And the last thing I want to do is steal someone else's identity. Plus, Zero isn't really my deal. I'm all about the number 4, you know? I hope you're not like Zero. Would you want us to call you 4 then? That's even worse. It's way too on the nose. I suppose you've got a point there. Clover, perhaps? So after much deliberation and discussion with myself, I ended up deciding that you should call me Belle. 4 letters, it's elegant, simple, and has a bit of mysticism to it, don't you think? It works as well as any other 4-letter name. Belle, right, okay. And you're some kind of divine ruler here? Now you're picking up on what I'm laying down, Clyde. Though let me guess, you don't really know what happens here in my realm, do you? Not really, if I'm being honest. It's kind of weird to be in a place that's supposedly holy or spiritual, I guess. Honesty is a good virtue to have, and someone needs to admit not knowing. So those too prideful to say so can get answers too. I can tell you that I'm very much a divine being of sorts, so I understand your hesitation. Perhaps you'd like a demonstration. Belle hopped down from her seat, gently floating to the ground as though gravity had been lessened just for her. Think of a number. Any number. You gonna try and read my mind? I can do more than that, in fact. Think of a number, a colour, and an animal. Alright. If she was claiming she could read my mind, I'd just think of something ridiculous. 8 magenta giraffes. Oh, excellent choice, and voila. Belle snapped her fingers and a plume of blue smoke appeared nearby that cleared to reveal 8 magenta giraffes. What the actual hell? What the heck? How did you... This is my realm, so I can do all sorts of fun things here, like this. Belle clapped her hands and the giraffe shrunk into blue chickens. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she kneaded them all together into some kind of dough, which she tossed in the air. By the time she caught it, it had transformed into a fully cooked pizza. It was so ridiculous I had to rub my eyes and stare in silence as she gingerly started eating a slice. And I can do way more than that too. I can fly, teleport from place to place, and my absolute favourite ability is... She stuffed her mouth and her words grew incomprehensible. Well, I'll tell you later, but you believe me now, right? Even if you don't, I'm sure that enough people here probably do. So you're a god or some spiritual being or whatever? What's this place all about? I'm glad you asked, Devon. It's really quite simple. You're here to participate in my game, the Game of Fortune. A competition for all of you to duke it out and earn my favour, where the winner gets a wish granted by yours truly. A wish? That's right. You get an amazing wish. And I'm not going to monkey's paw you or do anything evil. I grant it to you with every intention you've got for it. I really am just the greatest, aren't I? You are. You certainly are the greatest, Miss Belle. Oh, thank you, but just Belle is fine. Gotcha. Well, Belle, can we ask you questions? Oh my god, You're putting the cart before the horse now, aren't you, Willie? We haven't even spent a full 5 minutes and you're already asking me about my private life? Tell you what, to win the game, you win the game and I'll answer any and all questions you've got. Until then, everything's on a need-to-know basis. Okay? I guess that's fair. You've all got your own rules and stuff to follow. So we'll be playing a game to get some wishes granted. Seems like a nice deal to me. So what are the rules? There's certainly a lot of things I'd like to wish for if I had the chance. Wishes don't exist, idiot, and even if they did, I wouldn't trust someone acting like this with any of mine. But after all I've shown you, you're still doubtful, huh? Well, I suppose a mix of skepticism and belief is what makes life interesting. As for your question, Jade, I'll explain the rules quite simply. The Game of Fortune is a battle royale where one winner will emerge victorious and earn a wish of their choosing. We'll play for 4 rounds in total, with each round having teams of 4 people, and in those groups, you play a variety of games. After each round, exactly 4 players will be removed from the game. The final round would have exactly 4 participants fight for victory. And the winner will, of course, be getting their wish granted. Seems straightforward enough. Starting from the first round, we go from 16 players to 12 to 8 to 4, and finally the one winner. 4 rounds of games. It's such a lovely number, isn't it? But you hit the nail on the head. If you got that much down, then the rest of this will be a breeze to understand. Take a look over at the 4 doors over there. Belle pointed to the 4 large doors, each numbered 1 through 4. Rule 1. 4 of you will enter one of these doors, starting with the first one, and will participate in the game. Exactly 4 people must enter, no more and no less, or I won't activate the game. Rule 2. Once the game is started, no other doors can be entered until the previous door's game has been completed. Rule 3. Each game will be randomly selected from a category of 4 potential options, where applicable, and those options are 2 versus 2, a team game where one team of 2 will win and the other team of 2 will be disqualified. 1 versus 3, a game where the power of dynamics where either one player wins and the opposing team of 3 players, or the opposing team of 3 players wins, the losing side is disqualified. 4-player dilemma, a wild game where rules can vary drastically. Sometimes it's cooperative, competitive, or a mix of both. This game can have anywhere between 0 to 4 players and 0 to 4 players being disqualified. All for one, a competitive game where only one player may win, so it's everyone for themselves. May I ask a question? You may indeed. You said that these games categories are randomly selected where applicable. What does that mean exactly? Oh, it just means that depending on the results of the previous game, some options may not be viable anymore. I'm sure the logic behind that is clear, right? You gotta keep even numbers, yeah. Crystal, please continue. I shall. There's only one more rule to go over. Rule 4. Every game will have a fair chance for each player to win. No matter how unfair or dire things may seem, there's always a chance for victory. This rule does not apply to the last room, however. That's it. The rules are pretty simple, don't you think? Yeah, I guess they make sense. The woman dressed in green raised her hand as she looked over to the doors. What does being disqualified mean? Do we just sit out and wait for the winner, or we kick back to where we came from? Oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. When this is all done, you're bringing us back to the real world, I guess. Of course, I can't have you staying here forever, after all. As much fun as it would be to keep you all here, it's actually not in my best interest, and not really allowed either. Oh, but to answer your first question, Laura, as to what happens when you get disqualified, it's a really simple thing. You die, of course. Huh? Die? Hold on, I didn't agree to any kind of death game here. Yeah, that's ridiculous, we didn't sign up for this. But you kinda did. Coming to my realm means that you accept that part and portion of my games. Scared of a little death? You're not gonna get far if you're checking out this early in the game. What? How are you so calm about this? Did you not hear what she just said? There can only be one winner, which means the rest of us are gonna die. That doesn't freak you out? Nah, not really. What the hell is wrong with you? He's right, you're being completely ridiculous. I don't care if you're given the keys to the gates of heaven. There's no way in hell that we're participating in anything like this. but you have no choice, dear Lilith. Everyone has to play. Lilith, maybe you should take a moment to breathe and calm down. Calm down, she's telling us we're playing a game that could kill us. And I've got no intentions of playing along. Let her talk, old man. She's gonna have to learn her lesson the hard way. I prefer she didn't. Fuck you, I can't believe you're all going along with it like it's normal. Really? You won't play a single game? Do you have shit stuck in your ears, or do you just like playing coy? You're making a bad move, lady. I wouldn't keep egging her on like that if I were you. Oh, what is this dear old goddess going to do? Punt my ass to hell? That's a fun idea, but why don't I try this instead? Belle winked before snapping her fingers. I expected something to happen to Lilith. Like she'd blow up, get engulfed in flames, or face some other kind of divine punishment, but instead, we all turned our heads when we heard a familiar voice cry out in pain. Didn't do the green hat woman, but she didn't do anything. The woman's body has been constricted by a large snake, slowly curling and binding her until she's completely immobilized and lying helpless on the ground. Okay, each of her screams slowly shortened as the snake continued to squeeze her, choking her breath. Okay, holy shit. What the actual fuck are you doing? Let her go. The red-haired woman ran over to the snake and tried valiantly to wrestle the beast off the green-hatted woman as best she could. Can you fuck stop watching this and help out? Right. I swallowed my fear and attempted to take a step forward, but Devon pulled my arm and silently shook her head. Yeah, it's not worth it, man. Somehow her words snapped out all the courage I had, and I felt myself freeze in place as everyone else continued to simply stare. Fuck, it's gonna be okay, Laura, don't worry. I'm gonna get you out of this. Laura continued to gasp for air as the snake constricted her, paying her no heed to Lilith's attempt to pry it off. Then Belle simply stepped behind her and smugly placed her hand on Lilith's shoulder. Oh, look at Zizzy having a good fun with your sister. But she does tend to play a little rough. If you want me to remove her, all you have to do is agree to play the game. The woman turned around just for a moment, meeting Belle's cocky smirk with a glare of pure fury. Fine, I'll play. Just get the snake off her. Excellent. Belle snapped her fingers once more in a puff of smoke and the snake vanished, leaving Laura clutching her chest and taking heavy breaths as her sister embraced her. Okay, we need to wrap this one up because we're out of time for today, but that's the setup, right? It's a death game. Didn't they say no one was going to die? Aren't people here return visitors? How many you can only have one return visitor, and that's the person who won last time if everyone else has to die, right? I don't know. Anyway, well, I guess we'll see what happens next time. Thanks for watching, Bruce. I'll see you in the next one.